grow up making ravioli.
Ravioli.
I didn't have a grandmother that was Italian.
Ravioli.
The ravioli.
Homemade ravioli.
I'm a very mixed ethnicity.
Ravioli.
We all love ravioli. A lot of ravioli.
Ravioli delicious.
I was always envious of people who had roots.
Homemade
What do we call it? Ravioli tourism extravaganza.
Yes, that's a name.
Ravioli tourism extravaganza.
Open line extravaganza.
Ravioli tourism open line extravaganza.
Well, technically it's Ravioli Tourism monthly open line extravaganza.
A kind and gentle 3-hour tour of open lines and open hearts. I'm Adriene, here with Olivia, host of Radio Ravioli. And this is Ravioli Tourism Monthly Open Lines Extravaganza, the podcast. So, actually right now the lines are not open, so don't call in. The episode was recorded live on Wednesday, December 11th, 2024 on WFMU. We were taking phone calls, playing your voice memos, music, all other kinds of recorded nonsense. Sound of my grandmother's clock. Everything about time. How do you change time? How do you imagine time? How do you feel time? How do you see time? We took calls from 9 to midnight on the East Coast of the US. We heard about time synesthesia, time travel, dreams, sleeping anesthetic, how to measure a year, a minute, 50 years. But before we get to the show, a reminder that this is a live show, all recorded live. The mix is live, the calls are live, it's all unscripted. It's an open lines show, as I've mentioned about 5 times now. So you can call in, talk with us about your fears and dreams, and tell us your stories every second Wednesday of the month. You can send us a voice memo, if that's more your speed, to tourism@wfmu.org. Next month, or next year, January 8th, 2025, from 9 p.m. to midnight on WFMU, we're doing a polyphonic ravioli trip through health insurance. We want your stories, your pains, your general frustrations, the bureaucratic and temporal suck of the health insurance industry, whatever it may mean to you. Let it out here with us. January 8th, 2025, that's a Wednesday, from 9 p.m. to midnight. Listen, WFMU.org if you're not in the listening area, and send your voice memos to tourism@wfmu.org. We'd love to hear what you have to say. You can stay in touch with us with the show. You can see the upcoming show topics. We post them about a month in advance on WFMU.org. Find us there at Ravioli Tourism. And we're also on Instagram. It's me, Adriene and Olivia. And you can find us at Oh No. That's OHNO0000 on Instagram. On to Ravioli Tourism Monthly Open Lines Extravaganza, the Time episode from Wednesday, December 11th, 2024.
Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel close to that time. But when I think about when I was 80 or something, or it doesn't seem like too far away, I can remember easily about 79s and 80s, and before my husband died. And when I think about him being dead, it just seems like forever, because it makes it feel a long time after he died, because I've been without him for so long. That's all I know. can remember the 40s. I was thinking I was getting old. And yet, when I think about it, I was young.
Hey, you're listening to WFMU. It's Radio Ravioli, a special edition tonight, as it is the second Wednesday of the month. This is Ravioli Tourism Monthly Open Lines Extravaganza. That name just, we need a new one. I'm here with my
remembering it.
I'm sort of getting it right.
Very close every time.
I'm Olivia. I'm here with Adriene, my co-host and friend, and tonight we're talking about time.
Time. So much time.
How it passes, how it gives us anxiety, our perceptions. Can we shape time? That's what we're wondering. But give us a call, 201-209-9368, and tell us your stories about how you wrangle time.
Are you good at wrangling time? Are you a good time wrangler, Olivia?
I want to be.
Aspirational time wrangler.
I like to think that I'm in control of time.
Wow. I don't know that I can even like to think it. I feel so utterly out of control with time. I can't even imagine thinking about being in control of it.
Well, every time I think I am, then I'm completely shocked that, what? I wasn't in control of time? Things happened without me?
Something I've been thinking about since we started imagining this time episode is how to measure time. Started asking people a question I'm going to ask you now, which is, what is 5 minutes?
What is 5 minutes? Wait, how are you going to answer this question? Give me a...
Well, let's see how you answer it.
What is 5 minutes? 5 minutes is 60 seconds times 5, which is 300 seconds. It is... I can't... This is like an impossible question to answer.
What is 5 minutes?
5 minutes is how often I think I can do, I'm like, oh, it'll take 5 minutes. I'll do it in 5 minutes. And then a half hour later, I'm like, oh, I'm still here.
So 5 minutes is a half an hour?
Yeah, 5 minutes is a half an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I asked this question to my father, my dad, who has a lot of different perceptions of time, interesting perceptions. And I recorded him. Can I play it for you?
Yes, please.
Here's one answer to what is 5 minutes. What is 5 minutes for you? What does it feel like? What is 5 minutes?
Well, 5 minutes would be, so I can relate it to you, would be maybe, let me pick a common task. 5 minutes would be making a cup of coffee and having it ready to drink. That's about 5 minutes. because it's got to brew. You know, I got to put the stuff in there. It has to be hot. I got to put it in a cup. It's half and half in my case, and that's probably about that's a barometer for about 5 minutes.
All right. What's an hour?
An hour. Okay. An hour. An hour. Well, this is not that relatable. But an hour is probably about the amount of time I procrastinate when I have to do something I got to do. And like I'm going to go run in the morning, as an example. So I'll get up and I'm going to run to the city, get the ball. I'm going to do a 6.5 mile run. I'll putz around in the house, and that's probably an hour before I actually go out and do it. That's an hour for me.
Okay.
Now,
I mean, I've been around you when you're getting ready to do something like run, and I think it's more than an hour.
Well, it might be. It might be.
It might be.
I have to pick blocks.
Yeah.
You know, it's not 2 hours. Usually. So, you know, if it's closer to an hour than 2 hours, so it's an hour.
Okay. What's a week?
Oh my God, a blur anymore. We're not talking philosophically at all.
We can be, and just whatever a week kind of means to you, either the barometer of it, or you know what it means in like the more.
Well, my days, because of the habits I'm in, because of the entrenchment of things I do, my week, literally, they're blurs to me. There's not a, like, I mean, today is Wednesday, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, today's Wednesday. I can tell you that Sunday was a day ago. I mean, that's what's happened to my weeks, you know. So that's me relating to it at my age now. So when I was your age or younger, weeks were different. Now, I think if I change my setting and I'm not in this entrenched area of habit where I live, my perception of a week changes. Yeah. Because I'm experiencing everything new, usually. I may be doing it with my personality, which isn't new, but I still have to deal with the setting I'm in. And so my idea of a week is longer.
What's 50 years?
Oh my God. 50 years turned out to be what? 50 years, because I can look back 50 years now easily and be a cognizant person, you know. 50 years ended up being what I think 10 to 12 years would be.
50 years is 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it may be less than that.
What's 100 years?
Well, 100 years it's going to be less than that. Only because it's 10 to 12 because the years constantly shrink for me as I get older. So if I lived or 100, it's not even where I live, right? So the additional 50 that would make 100 is probably like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
So 100 is like, you know, 15 years, 17.
So I ask again, What is 5 minutes?
I mean, I like what your dad was saying. When you asked what is a week, your dad was saying, like, yes, today's Wednesday, yesterday was Sunday. I relate to that. I think the days of a week just kind of blur together once you're in the core of your work week. Especially for me, I work from home most days except for Thursdays. So the days just kind of blur together until Thursday.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday are long.
They're long
Wednesday
washes
to
of a day.
Saturdays. Yeah. Monday and Tuesday is a week. Wednesday is 3 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is 1 day, and Sunday is half a day.
Yeah, I think that's good math.
It's good math.
We're talking about time here on FMU, and we're ready for your stories about how you speed it up or slow it down. Practical advice we're interested in, also completely impractical advice. Give us a call, 201-209-9368.
There's nothing that I'm thinking of that I have in my time that I'm looking forward to do or anything, so time just goes along. I don't think much about it. I don't look forward to anything much.
What is 5 minutes to you?
5 minutes doesn't seem like very long to me.
What about an hour?
An hour?
Yeah.
That's quite a while. Yeah. If I have to wait for an hour for something, that's quite a while.
What about a week?
A week is way off.
My week, literally, they're blurs to me. There's not a, like, I mean, today is Wednesday, right? Yeah, today's Wednesday. I can tell you that Sunday was a day ago. I mean, that's what's happened to my weeks.
Well, his week comes quicker than mine.
When you were his age, did the weeks come faster, do you think?
When I was 70.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it feels like it's way off. it's come up sooner than you'd think.
It's WFMU. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello, this is Kayla from Peoria.
Hi. Do you have a story about time?
Yes. I'm just so excited to be on the air.
I'm excited you're on the air too.
I work for a funeral home. So there's all sorts of different time stories. Sometimes it's really slow, and I need to figure out how I can best serve my families and not waste time. And then that's also something that comes up a lot, where it's like, oh, I wish I would have spent time with this loved one. I wish I would have spent time doing this with this loved one. So it's just kind of like a really reoccurring thing. But then also, it's almost like a rubber band when you stretch it out, and then all of a sudden, like, it snaps, and then you let it go, and it all comes, like, rushing in all at the same time. So there'll be some days where I don't talk to anyone, and there'll be some days when I talk to 20 different people all at once. And it's just really gratifying, and it really shows, like, how important time is. And there's some days that 5 minutes feels like an hour, and there's some days where it's like, oh my goodness, I've been here for 9 hours and it feels like 30 minutes.
Completely. Wow. That is such a vulnerable job, or like heart forward kind of job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your call and for talking about that. Yeah. I think it's...
Yeah, well, thanks for answering my call. I'm a big fan of WFMU and so many shows.
Have a great night.
Thank you, you too.
We had some more calls, but I think they got cut off. So give us a call, 201-209-9368, and make it on the air. It was so nice hearing your grandma talk, Adrienne.
Yeah, she's 101. And when I asked her what a year was, she told me that it was just an incredibly long amount of time. It was such a long amount of time, which everybody else I asked, who was, I don't know, between the ages of 25 and 70, all kind of said that a year was a blink. So it's interesting.
All said what was a blink?
That a year was a blink, wasn't very much time at all.
Yeah. I look forward to having that perspective. We're getting another call right now. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're a little muffled, but you're here.
Okay. You talking about time?
We're talking about time.
Oh, why is it breaking up so much? Oh. Time to get a better connection, I think.
Yeah, I can't really hear you that well.
You bumped me before, like all the other women, but now I don't know why I'm having a bad connection. Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
So, I don't know. My dad wrote me a letter from prison once, and he said that time did not exist.
He wrote you a letter from prison?
Yeah, my dad actually, I used to tell people this when I drove for Uber when it first came out. A lot of fancy people in San Francisco. I was like, oh, my dad got his law degree at Attica State. And he never got it. But, I mean, time, I think, is relative to consciousness. And, like, even for 5 minutes, I was saying, like, 5 minutes, I think, is like the basic increment everybody, like, uses. Like, just 5 more minutes. I'll be there in 5 minutes. I don't know.
Tell me again the phrase that he said about when he was in prison, that time is a what?
He said that time did not exist. He said time is nothing, no thing. It does not exist. Which is the sort of thing you're going to focus on. You're going to think when you're, captive somewhere you don't want to be.
Completely.
And, that's the thing. At those times you try to, time really is relative. What's crazy to me is, you ever have a dream, like in a couple minutes, if you took a nap or something, if you went back to sleep for 5 more minutes, when you have to go to school, and you have a dream that seems to last, like, incredibly long, and it was just like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I know that feeling well.
So, time is something we perceive, and, it's Marilyn Manson. The times you want it goes away too fast. When you hit it, it always seems to last. And that's, like anything. Time flies when you're having fun. So it's something we perceive, and is time relative in the universe, the way everything's happening out there? I don't know if it really is. It's time. I think it's definitely a product of our consciousness, I think. Because everything on the planet could be like in cycles, perhaps. It wouldn't, I don't know.
I'm with you. Time is a product of our consciousness. And time does exist in cycles. I like thinking about time in terms of cycles and spirals instead of like a linear time, I guess. Thank you so much for your call, and have a great night.
You too. Nice to meet you.
I wonder, thinking about time and cycles and time not existing, something I think a lot about is how much time before I can notice a cycle. Like if I eat something and it makes me sick, I really only can make that connection if it's within like a couple of hours. If it's 2 days later, I don't make that connection anymore. Like the cycle doesn't repeat. Like I don't catch the cycle. It's like outside my like limits of like catching a rhythm.
Yeah. How long does it take a cycle? I guess it depends the context completely, right? Like what kind of situation you're in, the season. Like today was a completely gray day here in Jersey City. It's rainy. There's no cloud all day, and it just felt like timeless, I guess, like never ending. I woke up, it was 5 p.m. I'm here, it's 5 p.m.
No, it's true. It's an endless cycle.
Yeah, and it seems like it just repeats itself too, on a giant scale, and even like in our lives. I don't know.
Yeah, the cycles, things like the cycles of history and the way things change when kind of collective memory of them goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Resets.
You still haven't told us what 5 minutes is to you.
I don't know. I think I have a lot of trouble holding on to time. I don't know what 5 minutes is. Sometimes 5 minutes is forever, and sometimes 5 minutes is, I don't even notice that it's happened. I liked my dad's answer of saying it's the time it takes to make a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can answer it beyond that. I don't think experientially I don't know what 5 minutes is. I don't have the perception that I can get anything done in 5 minutes, but that's probably not true.
I mean, I'm very impatient, so sometimes 5 minutes, if I'm being delayed against my will, 5 minutes is an aggravating amount of time.
I think the problem with 5 minutes, with trying to get anything done, trying to think about 5 minutes, is it's not enough time for me to stop thinking about time. So if I know the interval is 5 minutes, I have to kind of constantly check the time, constantly. I can't stop thinking about the time. But if I know the time is 2 weeks, I can stop thinking about time for some of that. Right?
Yeah.
But give us a call. What is 5 minutes to you? 201-209-9368.
I mean, even what he was saying about time not being real or time doesn't exist when you're caught in these like endless loops. I think we've all kind of experienced that to varying degrees in COVID and lockdown and things like that.
My perception of time changed quite a bit in 2020. When COVID lockdown happened, I feel like we all had a perpetual snow day, and it was sort of a year plus, for me more than a year for sure, where time stood still, and it was almost like going into a black box and then coming out the other side, almost as if you were in a coma. I actually found myself during that time doing things to force my mind to have an awareness of the passage of time. I had really short hair when lockdown started, and I would have to get a haircut every month or 2 months to maintain this haircut. And because of lockdown and the fear of germs, I couldn't get a haircut. And since I was behind closed doors, I was like, cool, I mean, what other opportunity would I ever get to grow my hair out through all the awkward phases than when I'm behind closed doors? Basically, just completely disappeared. So, yeah, I feel like part of the reason I grew out my hair was to dictate the passage of time, not only to myself, but to others. Now I see people, and although it doesn't feel like it's been like 4 or 5 years since I've seen them, when you see how long my hair has gotten, there's pretty much no denying that it's been a really long time. I've had a lot of unstructured time in the last 5 years, and I find that with unstructured time, you have to do things to demarcate the passage of time, or else it will feel like there's no way to internalize the clock.
Hi, you're on the air. Hi, you're on the air.
Yeah, hey there.
Hey, what's up? Do you have anything about time? Any thoughts?
Yeah, the thought is that for me, time is the same thing as space, and the measurement of time, it's basically another way of indicating distance. I mean, because it's all movement and it's all change within the movement, and appearance and disappearance, and it's all space, it's all time.
I like this. This feels like a really deep thing to say at parties. Time is space.
Well, I like to say, space is time, because like if I got up and walked across the room, it took me a certain amount of time to move across that space, right?
Yeah, I feel you. I catch your drift. Yeah, I like this. I'm going to start saying this. Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay.
Time is space.
Time is space. That's kind of like trying to say 5 minutes is making a cup of coffee, I guess, then is the equivalent of whenever you read an article and they tell you about space in the football fields, like instead of telling you in meters or feet or whatever, they tell you in football fields.
Mm-hmm. We're getting some good visualizations, I guess, of time. Which I'm not always the most visual person, so I appreciate it when other people can spell it out for me. You're on the air.
Yeah. About time. I think time is super flexible. I can remember being at jobs or sitting in a doctor's office waiting, and 5 minutes can go on forever.
Yes.
And you're thinking, oh, 1 minute, finally gone, kind of. But other times, if I'm at a party or with friends and laughing and talking, I look up and it's midnight. And the last time I saw the clock, it was like, 9:30 or something. So I think time can just, go fast or slow.
Yeah, it really is just your perception, right? I guess, is it caused by stress or by lack of doing something, which makes it draw out?
Yeah, and actually I've learned to always bring a book with me or maybe something to listen to, because then time can be, I can kind of even it all out.
You're activating your mind. You're stimulating your mind. Giving yourself something to think about.
Yes.
Has it changed for you, your perception of time, as you...
I find that when I look back, things have gone fast. But if I look forward, like, oh, I'm not going to go on this vacation or trip for a year, it's like, that perception changes. But if I have a good, strong memory of something, it seems like it was just yesterday, no matter how long ago it was.
I also feel like at the end of the year, time is moving really fast with the holidays and things to do.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. Well, thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
Do you have a particularly fast time memory? Like the fastest time's ever been for you?
The fastest time has ever been for me. I mean, it flies during this radio show, definitely. Someone said time goes fast when you're not at work. I agree with that. The fastest it's ever been, though, I can't think of like an exact instance. I do like the idea of like when you're in a dream and you have an alarm that keeps waking you up. Time is moving at a weird time. Like sometimes it's like, I just turned you off, alarm, and then other times it's like, that dream felt so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you think the longest you've ever been in a dream was? Or were the perception
like
of the dream?
Like it can feel like you've been like a whole arc, right? Like a really good dream has a whole story to it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have this memory of a dream, which maybe I've made up at this point, from when I was a teenager, that I think it was like the dream was jumping in time itself, so it felt, when I woke up, I had this sense that I had been in the dream for years.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's only happened once, and I don't think I necessarily experienced years in the dream. I think I was kind of jumping, aging in the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I woke up feeling like I had been through years of a dream. That's the longest one.
I had a recurring anxious dream that hasn't happened in a long time, but it happened all the time when I was younger, where I was constantly en route to go somewhere and I wasn't making it there. Like I had to be at an appointment at a certain time and just things kept getting in the way. So my appointment's in the middle of the afternoon, and all of a sudden time has passed and now it's nighttime and it's dark and I still haven't made it to my appointment, and the car broke down. I'm running, like things keep getting in the way, and I feel like those are like the longest feeling dreams that I've had.
Ugh, that's the longest feeling parts of life too.
Where you just can't get to where you're trying to go. Being stuck in traffic is another one.
Ugh. Give us a call with your longest or shortest time experiences, dreams or otherwise. 201-209-9368.
Aging multiple years in a dream sounds really fun, though.
Yeah. I mean, especially when I think I was probably 15, 16 when I had that dream. So, multiple years is like a percentage of your life.
Yes, a strong higher percentage than it is now. We're getting a call. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hey, you're on the air.
Yeah, I called before, but you were talking about dreams, and I just really wanted to have this heavy dream about time and stuff and aging, and I was hoping it was okay if I called and told it to you.
Okay. Yeah, just speak more clearly into the mic.
Okay, so I had this dream when I was 9 years old, and I used to be in Catholic school, and I tried to stop going there and went to public school. So, and it's weird, like the format. This isn't about dreams. It's about time, so I won't talk about that. Right. So I'm walking through the hallways of my Catholic school, and there's classes and stuff. And then I go to this one, and I look, and all the kids are sitting like Indian style on the floor, and the teacher has like not like an old phonograph style, but like an old type of record player, and she's playing the song, "What a Wonderful World." I forget. Guys, that's all right. And the song is making the kids age. All the kids are sitting there, and they're not growing up, but they're growing old. And the effect of this song, and the teacher's like overseeing the playing of this song, and they're all, by listening to it, they're all just growing old. And I'm like horrified. I want to like do something to affect it, but like I didn't know what would I do. I didn't want to walk in the room because we're all growing old. And I think it was about the sit-down, stand-up, submission, and conditioning of school. That's what it was. But I just, I don't know. That's like one of the most terrifying dreams I ever had. And it felt kind of relevant.
Nothing like a terrifying school nightmare. Thanks for your call.
No problem.
Hi, you're on the air.
Hi, I'm not sure if you had a last caller, but I wanted to talk about kind of the fear of time and not being a part of it when other people are a part of it, and thinking specifically kind of in terms of anesthesia and what you're missing while other people are carrying on. That's kind of something that I think about when I think about time.
Did you say synesthesia?
Anesthesia.
Oh, anesthesia. Okay, yeah. Have you had an experience like that?
I had one where when I was getting my wisdom teeth out, but I had a big fear of it was like a control freak fear. So I fought the anesthesia and I ended up being awake because the fear was just not knowing what was going on while I was under. That was something I wasn't able to process and didn't want to not be a part of. So like some more intense FOMO.
Did you have a dream about this, or you actually woke up in surgery?
I didn't. I didn't wake. It actually happened, but so they put me under, and once they started to take the wisdom teeth out, I woke up, and they said that they would stop, and I said, no, you just need to do it, and I'll just have to be in a twilight space. I can't be totally out of it, because I was more scared of waking up with a period of time missing. That scared me more.
What scared you think?
I didn't like the idea of waking up in a room with a bunch of cotton balls in my mouth and kind of not knowing what that process had been. And just that it was very much out of my hands, and that it was something that other people were experiencing and I just had to go with. It was I think it was very much control.
Well, they're like invading, like they're in your mouth.
Exactly.
I mean, they know best.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot to say.
Yeah, I get that. Wow, that's kind of crazy that your brain was able, or your subconscious or whatever, your body was able to wake you up.
Yes, yeah, the joke was they gave me enough to put out an elephant, yet I still woke up.
Is that what they told you?
That's what they told me.
I feel like that's like the biggest, I would give them the biggest eye roll. Like, thanks, guys. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, are we professional here? I'll be awake this time around. Let me just monitor this.
I'm glad I woke up now that you made that joke. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
Well, have a great night. Thanks for mentioning that.
Thank you. You too.
Bringing it up, missing time, blackouts, periods where you're not existing in the same plane as everyone else.
You know, the call kind of made me think of anesthesia as a kind of time travel almost, because you get to jump ahead if you don't wake up.
If you do wake up.
No, if you don't, if you don't wake up in the middle of it.
If you don't wake up in the middle of it.
If it actually puts you out.
Yeah. I have been under anesthesia, and I do remember feeling extremely scared, like the first time it happened, maybe 10 years ago-ish, and I was really terrified. And then for me, it was just like a blip where suddenly it was, I time traveled a few hours into the future.
It feels like that, right? It feels like time travel.
It does. Also, everyone else is looking at you intensely. So it's an extreme form of time travel because everyone is aware that you have been out of it.
Yeah, they're waiting for you to catch up.
Yeah.
But, they're the suckers. They had to go through the time. You didn't have to go through the time.
I mean, I feel like, would you consider sleep time travel, though? Like, isn't that also being a...
Well, I guess I've only been under, like, an anesthetic maybe, I think, twice, maybe 3 times. And at least the times I'm thinking of, it is like, okay, count backwards from 10 and you get to 8 and you then wake up and it's over. But sleep... I'm someone who tends to remember my dreams, so I think of it more as a altered conscious state. Doesn't feel quite like time travel in the way anesthesia does.
Yeah. Also, you're still, your consciousness is kind of still in the same plane. I don't know if I'm making sense right now.
Yeah, somehow it feels... I somehow feel that time has passed when I go to sleep and wake up. I don't know that I feel... or have felt the time pass. You don't feel it in the same way.
Definitely. Yeah. No, that's it.
Yeah.
Someone on the chat said, walking as if every step is a lifetime, or as if a lifetime to get across the room is a practice I do.
Wait, what?
Walking as if every step is a lifetime, or as if a lifetime to get across the room is a practice I do. What? I thought that was really...
I'm gonna have to think about that.
Walking as if every step is a lifetime.
Every step is a lifetime.
That's really slowing it down.
That's slowing it down. Give us a call. 201-209-9368. Is every step a lifetime? What is time?
What is a life?
What is a life?
That doesn't have to be long at all. But have you ever, lost time?
When I drive.
When you drive?
It's actually kind of scary.
Well, when you drive in California or South Africa?
Both, but, it hasn't happened when I drove in New York, but when I was, first learning to drive, there'd be times where I would, black out. I still knew that I was doing this thing and that I was safe, but then I would, be at the end, I was I could not remember when I started and when I ended. And, the in-between.
Yeah.
And, I knew time had passed, but I just didn't know how much and how little.
If you looked back at it, how many miles do you think you went, or how much time do you think that was?
Maybe, 3 miles on, a highway.
Yeah. But was it a route that you were used to?
Yes.
Okay, so it's your commute.
It felt like I was zoning out. Yeah. So, everything, I couldn't really, hear music. I was on the highway, I'm in traffic, and it felt like where it was just like this I felt like, what's that thing? What's the term for like a non-playable character?
NPC, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it felt like.
I feel like I think it's pretty common when you're on your like, you black out,
right?
You zone out.
And so different in California. It happened when, like in Joburg, it was traffic and timing.
Hi, you're on the air. Hi, you're on the air.
Hi. I don't know if I just missed the last few seconds, but I know you guys were talking about the idea of sleep being time travel and also, like, missing time.
Yeah, we were.
I kind of think about that every time I get on a plane. My goal is to fall asleep right as the plane takes off and then wake up when the plane lands, and then I get to time travel from one destination to another.
That is actually a perfect way of thinking. That's what I do too. I sleep right when I get on the plane. Like, I'm usually zonked before we've even left.
That's always the
lifted.
You gotta go to sleep and then wake up in a new place.
Yeah, I mean, even like flight in general is kind of a form of time travel, right? You're like going oftentimes to a different time zone.
Yeah, flying from the U.S. to Japan and then losing 12 hours and cycle entirely is a wild experience in general.
Yeah, that is
recently,
crazy.
We were also looking through old photos, and I realized that there's a bunch of time lost from when I was younger. Not like in a bad way necessarily, but I mean, on a day-to-day basis, we have a lot of tasks and things that we do that are menial, or now you're scrolling on your phone or whatever. It's not something that's memorable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember a lot of the time from when I was younger and what I was doing to pass the time that wasn't super memorable. Like, was I watching TV? Was I don't know, playing a game or whatever? There's just a lot of time that's missing now.
Yeah, what did we used to do?
I don't remember. And even recently, like the last couple of years, you think about how many hours you spend looking at dumb stuff on the internet or whatever, and there's just this time that could be used potentially in a better way.
Yes.
But that's time that goes by really fast for me. Is stuff that I'm not fully engaged in.
Yeah, because I wake up very early in the morning, and I'm like a morning person, and I guess you could say. And so I get up super early, but I'm often just doing absolutely nothing. And yeah, usually scrolling on my phone. I try to work out. That's like my original intention is to do that. But then sometimes I'm just so caught in my digital space that I completely miss that too.
Yeah, I've had to, because I do a similar kind of morning routine.
Oh,
and then I sit with my pets on our little catio, and I try to focus on the world around me and not get drawn into that. And I feel like that's a moment that I have a little more control over time.
That is a goal. If I had a porch, I would be doing the same. Thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, you're on the air.
Hi. I'm one of your older listeners.
Do you mean
and
age-wise, or you've been listening for
my memoirs?
Oh, okay.
Last week I went to see Philip Glass at Town Hall, and while I was waiting outside, it occurred to me that I had seen him at this venue 50 years ago. And I thought of all the times and different venues and performances that I went to see him. And after the show was over, Ticketmaster sent me a notice, "Oh, how did you like the show?" And I wrote a quick review, and it encapsulated some of the other performances I've seen. And the next day, when I went to buy tickets for the upcoming performance in 2025, Ticketmaster printed my review on their site. And it suddenly occurred to me that I didn't realize how many times or how much time I have actually spent going to see this particular person. And I'm going to do my memoirs, instead of it being a linear, it's going to be clustered around subjects like my first musical performances, the first theater performances I've seen. And when you talk about time like this, it astonishes me that at 71 years old, the numbers of things that I've seen, I feel compelled to write about them.
Wow, that is pretty amazing. So you saw Philip Glass in 1974 and then in 2024?
Yes.
What venue?
1974 was a very big year. I got to see my first opera. I got to see David Bowie 9 times that year, and on my birthday, I got David Bowie and Angie Bowie's autograph on the same page at the Sherry Netherland Hotel. And it was just an amazing year. And now, 50 years later, I need to write a number of these things down before I forget them completely. But there are certain things that you just don't forget.
Very true.
And I used to listen to FMU when it was Uppsala College. That's how far back I go with FMU.
Wow,
and I'm
thank
very
you so
happy
much.
to be a swag member.
Yeah, Swag for Lifer.
Yeah.
Thanks for the plug, my man.
Well, it's very important. You're the one. I mean, there are other stations I listen to and I support, like QXR. I have not supported KCR or BGO yet, but I might be able to squeeze out $10 a year or $20 a year for them this year. We will see.
That's so kind of you. Can you tell me the venue that you saw Philip Glass in?
It was Town Hall.
Okay, cool.
And it was
very
a
cool.
wonderful show, and I got to actually tell him one word: spectacular.
Ah, nice. And what were the? Can you think of just like a couple differences between when you saw him in the 70s and when you saw him today? About, did the room feel different? Was the crowd different? Were you different?
Well, we are all much older. When I first saw him, I dragged a number of friends to see him at Loeb Student Center. This is before Einstein had premiered. He was traveling around and he did a concert. Most of my friends did not care for the music. And he did not perform on stage because of his age at this point. But the amazing thing is, the night I saw Einstein on the beach was like going to the moon. No one had ever heard or seen anything quite like that, and it took my breath away. And now, 50 years later, it's almost ordinary. I mean, not to me, but to a lot of people. Oh, I've heard that, I've seen that, I don't need to see that again.
Completely.
But he also is a master manipulator of time, the way he does his music. So,
can you elaborate on that? What do you mean, master manipulator of time?
Well, you're watching a show in which the orchestra is playing at a frantic pace, and the people on stage are acting as if the music is there, but they're not actually in sync with it. Very few of the performances that you actually have them moving to his music. They move, but they do not move in sync with it. So there's this discrepancy between what you're seeing and what you're hearing. You're hearing sometimes this very, very frantic music, and the people on stage are not doing anything really frantic. So visually it's one thing, and then acoustically it's another. And it's been fascinating.
That's amazing. Yeah, so well said. Thank you so much. I look forward to reading your memoir. Send us a copy.
Well, actually, you can see a little of it. If you go to Ticketmaster and try to buy a ticket for his show next year, you can read the review. Or I should probably send it to you.
Yeah, send us a link or put it in the WFMU chat if you want.
Will do.
Have a good
evening.
night. There's nothing like the big years, like 50 years, 25 years, 10 years, to get you reflecting. I don't know what it is about these nice round numbers.
I mean, because they seem like a long time. I feel like 10 years is a long time. Like maybe a year seems fast or slow, but 10 years is a long time. And 50 years is a long time.
Yeah, so seeing an artist 50 years apart
50 years
sounds really amazing. In the same location. That's just a crazy story.
It's crazy. Have you done something 10 years apart? I know you're not 50, so I know you haven't done anything 50 years apart, but 10 years? 15 years? Traditions with that long of a wait between them?
I want to start doing that more. I have been thinking about like 10 years ago. Oh, yeah. I mean, a few years ago, it was like my 10-year reunion for something. High school or something. I don't know. That was interesting. It brought me back. It made me extremely anxious and like worried, and like I was not happy in high school, so it was like I suddenly became like a teenager again. It was very intense and visceral, and it took me a while to like process those feelings, honestly.
Wait, did you go to your high school reunion?
No, God, no.
Oh, okay.
No, but I got like an invitation, and I was like, and then a couple people like interacted with me again because this was happening, and I was just like ghosted them and was like, I can't handle this. I didn't even like. I liked them, and a few months later, I was like, okay, time to revisit these. But yeah, I don't know. It really did bring me back to that time. When
you think back to that time, is it something that feels close to you? Do you remember it like it's still you? Does it feel like a recent thing, or is it far away?
No, that feels very far away.
Yeah.
That feels like a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
I think I was different. I think you can be different people in your life. I think I was like really, you're different in the same, I guess, right? Like I had completely different goals and obsessions than I do now, but also similar tendencies, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, time changes you, as does space.
Mm-hmm.
The Commons board, someone made the note that time is experience.
Time is experience. That sounds like a mantra or something for a mug.
Time is experience.
Wise.
Both very meaningful and very meaningless.
I like what somebody else said. If you want to slow time down, pet a cat. If you want to speed it up, have kids. Yeah, my dog helps me with a lot of slowing down time and kind of like recentering, I guess.
Huh. Any tips on changing time, both speeding it up and slowing it down? Give us a call, 201-209-93 9368. I think a lot about trying to speed up and slow down time. I think this is kind of my main pursuit for quite a lot of my life. how to slow time down.
Well, you also like lose periods of time, right? Because you have intense migraines that kind of take things over for a few days at a time here and there, right?
Yeah, but they're not on time travel types of
You're fully
loss of
present.
time. I'm fully present, a little too present.
But in an altered state.
In the worst way possible. Of all the things to be slow, it's unfortunately those periods of kind of extreme pain.
So do you find yourself kind of, like, how do you react to those periods of time? Are you trying to, like, enjoy the non-migraine periods better, slow things down a little bit?
Yeah, I think I'm always kind of thinking about how to control time a little bit, how to slow it down, or to at least get a handle on how it's moving. And I think with the migraines, it's hard to not want out of them, right? It's hard to not want to find a distraction, something fun to get you, like watching a movie or something where you can move a little faster through time. But I also have the feeling that can actually intensify the pain a little bit. Whereas if you're really focusing on what's happening and you're really in the moment with it, I think it reduces some of the suffering. But that's harder. It's easier said than done, I guess.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have a really intimate relationship with, like, physical pain? Is that a weird thing to say?
I mean, I probably have the kind of relationship with it that anybody who experiences a lot does. Which, yeah, it's a different kind of intimacy, I think, when you sort of know it's always right around the corner, as opposed to some maybe it will, maybe it won't happen to you in the future sense.
Yeah.
But does it affect time? I think it does. I think everything does.
Tell me more about how it affects time.
I mean, I think it just goes back to what people have been calling and saying about how time changes speed based on maybe your anticipation a little bit. You're anticipating something being over, something starting. Suddenly time, I think, moves very slowly. I remember being a little kid and we were going to SeaWorld, I think it was SeaWorld. Must have been, 8 or 9 years old or something. And I remember laying in bed the night before we were going to go to SeaWorld, and I was so excited to go to SeaWorld that I just remember this night just going on and on. I couldn't fall asleep because I was so excited. And it was this very long, endless night before going to SeaWorld.
The waiting.
It's just anticipation. The waiting. But sometimes the migraines, I guess, can be that, but, instead of SeaWorld, you're just waiting to, like, not be vomiting.
I can feel that a lot when I'm, like, like I have an important meeting, or I'm anxious about meeting up with someone new, or even just, like, I have an appointment or something. It kind of can be all-consuming for me, where I'm, like, can't really think about much beyond that.
Yeah.
We have another call. Hi, you're on the air.
Hi. Oh, okay, turning my radio. Hello?
Hi, you're on the air.
I am. Okay, hi.
Hi, do you have a story to tell us about time, or what do you...
Oh, well, you were asking about, techniques or approaches or...
Yes. To slow or speed down
a few
time.
things, but I mean, the idea of time as a commodity, right, or time as currency.
Ooh.
And so I wrote this response It's a song, actually. I don't know if I can sing it, but there was a musical called The Pajama Game, and there was a song called Think of the Time I Saved, which is a man who's getting ready to go to work in the morning. And I wrote a response to that, and a short song. But I don't know, time is like stretchy, bendy, and like slowing down, more efficient and effective, and pausing is like, for me, like one of the most valuable self-regulation techniques. And like if I have to get out of the house at a certain time, the thing is, if I speed up, it doesn't help. If I slow down, it actually works. Like first responders, like they only have minutes, but it doesn't help. They know they have to do everything correctly and slowly and methodically. So actually, if they speed up, it's less effective. It like kills the motor skills and decision making, and
Yeah, that's something I'm trying to work on, is like slowing down in the face of chaos.
Yeah. Or there's the practicing doing something slowly over and over again, so that maybe in the moment, if it had to be done quickly, but then, the practice takes time, right?
Can you tell me more about this song you made?
Oh, well, I'm nervous.
I don't want to make you sing it, but I am very curious.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever called in, but I've been listening to you since I was a young person. So.
Oh, well, thank you for calling.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, I can try. It's short. So, but the first line of the song is, he says, I'm a time study man, right? So, oh gosh, okay. I'm a time-bending woman, and a time-bending woman takes her time. For a time-bending woman to take time is divine. So I melt and bend the clock, live my life by the flock of birds flying in the sky, away from the tick-tick-tock. That's it.
That was brava. That was beautiful.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for your call.
Okay, appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye. I'm a time-bending woman.
Amazing.
I will be singing that to myself later tonight. I'm a time-bending woman. Look at that, the bravery. Incredible. The vulnerability. We appreciate you, caller.
I mean, music is a good way to sort of feel the passage of time, or to not feel it, I guess, too.
Yeah, definitely.
My lost time is usually more like I don't sense time passing, and I focus on something very hard. I let everything else fall to the wayside, and when I finally let myself check, it's hours and hours later. But I've gotten really good at knowing how I am. Like if I'm working really late into the night, I can be like, okay, well, I haven't checked in a while. I'm guessing. Last time I checked was like 10:30 p.m. I bet it's 1:40 in the morning right now. And I'll check and it'll be like 1:42. And I'll be like, well, but also I'm not ready, so I'm gonna go into another, just to focus again. And then like, time will pass. It's just hyper focusing.
Supposed to talk to you about time? Like I've never time traveled or anything. I don't know if I don't know if time travel is real. I don't know if we can go back in time, although the people try to sell you, I don't know, I've heard, especially in African traditions, you talk about the Sankofa, which means like you have to look back in order to go forward, which I guess is important, you know, so history doesn't repeat itself, and in order to honor the sacrifices of those who came before us. So I don't believe in time travel per se, but I believe in the Sankofa, which is just, you know, taking into consideration people's past efforts. I can see time though. Does that make sense? Like I think it's like an actual not a problem, but it's like a condition. Like how do you see time? So like I see time as in my brain as a straight line, and each month is a different color. So like when I think about December, I think of the color black, and then there's like this gradient, and then January becomes white, and then, you know, February is red, March is green, April is yellow, May is orange, June is also green, and then July is like a light blue, and then August is like a darker orange, and then September is like a golden yellow, and then October is like a violet, and then November is like a burnt orange, and then we get back to December again, and there's this long line. I don't know what that is. Is that a thing? Because in my brain, that's how I see time. Like I don't need to have that like investigated. Like I don't need to go to a doctor for that, right? What's that called? It's like, you know, those people who can like colors and numbers, which I think I also have. But like that's how I feel about time, is that, what's that called? I don't know. I saw that they had people draw a calendar in their brain, right? And some people think in a circle, and some people think in like, I don't know, like an infinity symbol or something. But time for me is just one straight line that just goes on forever. Just like a timeline. But maybe that's why I don't believe in time travel per se, because in my mind, everything just goes forward. I'm the problem. Even though Arrival, the movie Arrival, tells you that, like, you know, time is a circle. I just can't wrap my head around that. I just explained like time synesthesia to you. Wow, that word came out of nowhere. That's what it is, synesthesia. Is that what it is? Hold on, let me look it up. Let me double check, just in case. Time. Yeah. Time-space synesthesia, also known as calendar synesthesia, is a rare type of synesthesia that causes people to visualize time in a spatial way. Visualizations, people may see time as a circular or an oval that rotates clockwise. They may also visualize time as a collection of points in space, or as interlocking regions, associations.
Associations, people with time space anesthesia may associate specific colors with months or days of the week, or associate specific chunks of the year with shades of light and dark. Oh God. Dude, I have a condition. Oh, we just learned this together in real time. Oh no. Wait, how rare is calendar synesthesia? 1% of the population? Oh. Well, that's fun. We just learned something new about ourselves, or about me. Oh. I'm gonna unpack this now with some tea. Okay. Love you. Bye.
When she was describing the months as colors, I was like, whoa, what?
Whoa.
'Tis not I.
'Tis not I. I think I sometimes try to do that. I'll try to like color code things for my own organizational purposes. And I don't ever remember what colors they are.
'Tis not I.
Time synesthesia.
I've never heard of that.
I've never, well,
I've heard of
1% the
synesthesia.
population. Yeah.
Yeah, 1% of the population.
Time synesthesia seems like such a strange thing to even diagnose, because time would always be synesthetic, right? It would always be synesthesia, because it's not it's not a perceptible thing? Or, what am I saying?
Well...
Because synesthesia is like you smell colors and you hear tastes, but time is not a sense. So
yeah, but I don't really have any big associations with different periods of time or different seasons, like other than the literal stuff. Like
what do you?
I wouldn't say like, oh, June is blue, or like when my 20s represent this color or sound or smell or something, or the 90s were like XYZ or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I guess I don't inherently really either, but I feel like the kind of way that maybe media is, or maybe the trends that are happening will cause me to, like, I feel like I associate October with orange.
Yeah.
When she was listing the colors and she said October was blue? I don't know.
Yeah, she didn't say orange?
She didn't say orange, and it jumped out at me because I was like, October. Of course, it's orange.
It's fall. It's pumpkin spice.
It's pumpkin spice. It's orange.
Someone on the chat said, I like to pretend I time traveled to the present moment from the future because I was nostalgic for it. I like that.
Oh.
That's cute.
That's lovely. That's sweet.
That's a very, like, positive or, like, optimistic or, I don't know, something like that way of viewing the present moment.
Yeah. It breaks that kind of time marches on and you can never go back feeling. Because maybe you can go back, you just don't remember the future when you go back.
Yeah. That's true.
If anybody out there's ever time traveled, maybe you don't remember how you did it, but give us a call, 201-209-9368. Would love to hear from a time traveler. I know you're out there. Give us a call. Tell us how you did it. Tell us what it's like.
Tell us what you saw.
201-209-9368.
I knew a couple of things. I knew that I had dreams, and they seemed really real and vivid. And I'd also read that sometimes when you dream, I mean, you're in a dream that seems like it takes a long time. You're only doing it for a few moments.
Right.
So I concluded from that your mind in some way can alter time, at least the perception of it, right?
Yeah.
And then just because of the vividness of a dream, as if it's here. In other words, indistinguishable potentially to this while it's going on. I figured, I also knew that, at least I had a lot of propositions here, as I assumed. I also knew that things in general, humans, whatever, animals, have an intense desire to live, unless you're committing suicide or something. But I mean, you know, you would do everything in the world to stay alive.
Yeah.
So you have that drive in you. So I figured in the very brief milliseconds when you know you're dying, I'm talking about just the minutia moments, the tiniest moments left where you have a conscious awareness of that. You instantly go in and you take advantage of that ability to alter time and to create a reality, and then you make your next reality.
Yeah.
And so you're in that millisecond, you're producing another life.
I feel like there's kind of a element of time that we haven't touched on. Maybe the kind of the elephant in the room of time, which is the relationship with death.
Yes.
The end of things. Maybe.
I liked our first caller, or in the first few calls, who was talking about working in a funeral home and experiencing the end of life with people and their families, and how 5 minutes can seem like can be so much time, so much more than just 5 minutes, if that's all that you want with somebody.
You're holding on. Trying to make the time last.
Yeah, I mean, time is change. Life is change. Moving forward. Anticipating.
Do you fear time? Is it a thing to be feared?
I mean, I guess it depends on the day, right? Like, right now, in this current state I'm in, I don't really fear the passing of time. I don't mind getting older. Things coming to a close. That's fine right now. But I think there have been times where I've been fearful of it. I remember turning 30 was like a big fear that I suddenly was like, oh God, how'd that happen? I'm here. What have I been doing this far? What time have I been wasting?
Did you feel it when you turned 30, or did you just think you would?
I felt it in the sense of I thought a lot about it, and it like was a pivotal thing in my brain thinking about it. Now that I'm there, it's whatever, I don't think about it, but like the transition of being like there felt like a big thing in my life.
Yeah.
Do you fear time?
Sometimes. My partner likes to say that I make time a prison. Because if there's a nice moment, if there's something to hold, it's like I won't let it go.
Oh, you hold it hostage.
I hold it hostage.
How do you do that? You talk about it nonstop, or you like?
I just want to keep being in it. So if the moment is like a, if you're sitting on the porch and it's just like a nice day outside, I just won't leave the porch. Even though there's other things to do, or other people want to leave. Or I think it manifests a lot in music. If there's like a piece of music I'm really enjoying, it's like I loop it and loop it and loop it and loop it. I don't even loop the whole track or the whole song. It'll just be like the first 15 seconds or something. Kind of go back to the beginning.
Oh, yeah. No, if there's like a great moment, it's yeah, I do that too, like obsessed with the idea of looping, like, oh, this, like, their inflection is so great at this one exact point. I need to hear it. I need that endorphin hit again. I need this to happen again and again.
You make it a prison.
With songs, I definitely do. I don't know if I do that so much in a moment, like in real time. But I remember, like, my dad also loves music, and I remember being a kid, and we had, like, this song that we were listening to, and he was like, wait, did you hear that part? And, like, he rewinded, and it's such, like, a stupid, silly, like, everyday thing, but I used to think about that moment all the time, especially when I got more into my own kind of music, and, like, yeah, like, looping things, and, like, repetition, and, yeah, this trying to capture something and make everybody else see it too.
Yeah, there's something about trying to get someone else to share like some kind of time moment. You know, when you watch a movie with someone that you've seen the movie and you like the movie, and you're watching it with someone else, and there's like a scene or something that happens that you want them to see because you want to share it with them, and maybe they start to like talk right before it happens, or they're looking at their phone right when it's going to happen. Do you know this feeling? Mm-hmm. You're trying to be like, no, you gotta look. This is the moment that we need to share. This is the thing to share.
This is it. Stop. This is it. So do you think you're kind of controlling in that way? Like, where you're forcing everyone else to participate in the thing that you're loving as well?
No,
Is that
I'm
what he means? Does he yell this at you in like a, you're a prisoner of time? You hold that.
You're making the prisoner. I don't want to sit here with you and have a nice time anymore.
We're getting a call. Oh. We lost him.
Oh.
Give us a call back. 201. 209-9368.
201-209-9368. I used to loop movies too. I don't do that as much anymore. But especially when I was a teenager and in my like early 20s, if I watched a movie and I liked it, I would just immediately watch it again.
I did that in a similar thing of loop, like finding the moments that, like, yeah, fast forwarding to the scenes that I liked. And kind of reliving those times again. And again.
Making it a prison.
Making it a prison. I mean, I've always had just such a deep, like, I don't know, sense of, like, attachment, I guess you could say, to media and the, like, music and film and stuff. It's like these things are, like, I don't know, hit hard.
It can be a way of time travel too.
In terms of taking you back in time to, like, when you first saw it, or?
Yeah, taking you back in time to when you first saw it, or, you know, representing different times. It almost feels like you like get this illusion of being there for a moment, if it's good. It's well done.
Oh yeah. Like a period piece or something like that.
Yeah, like a period piece. Or even like a contemporary piece that is not contemporary 10 years later.
Yes, yeah, like the film was made in the 80s and it feels like that time.
Yeah, I don't know why I phrased it that way, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and now I just feel like nostalgia is so much a part of everything. Like, everyone's obsessed with making things that take place in a different time, that capturing the exact sound that the AOL Instant Messenger used to have, or like that dial tone or whatever it is. There's like such a I don't know, commodification of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, nostalgia definitely seems to sell.
Would you go back in time?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I am back in time now. According to the comment on the board, maybe I came back in time from the future. So, sure.
Do you think that you would be witnessing yourself in the same, like, would there be double you? Double me, double you? Yeah. Or would it be like your one body? Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're making sense. I would think that, I don't know that I would want to go back and be a double me, because then you would lose everybody in your life, right? Because the you there knows them, the you in the future doesn't know them. So, like, the future you doesn't know them. I think if I went back in time and was me, and in my own lifetime, I'd rather just go back into my old body, to my younger body in the past, as opposed to being like an older me wandering around, just aimlessly. Just, I guess, making investments. I don't know what I'd be doing.
There are so many movies about time travel. I'm trying to, as we're talking, I'm like visualizing all the different representations there have been of this.
Which movies are you thinking of specifically? Do you have one?
Back to the Future, that's not like, he's not existing yet, right? So it's him, but he's in a time period that he wasn't in. There are different movies where it's like, you know, like a Freaky Friday kind of situation where it's like their soul has entered a different body and they're like looking down at their hands, which are not their hands, like, oh.
The time travel movie I think about the most, and I haven't seen it in 15 years, probably, or more, is, I think it's called Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve, where he goes back in time. It's like a love story thing, but he goes back in time and he does it by wearing old-timey clothes and being in a hotel that was built back in the time that he goes back to, like the turn of the century or something. And he he kind of just meditates his way into the past, if I remember it right. And then, this is a bit of a spoiler, but this movie is 40 years old, so I think that's okay. But near the end of the movie, he like reaches into his pocket and he finds like a penny from 1985 or whenever this movie came out, and it reminds him that he's not actually from the past, and then he just kind of like is back in the future again.
Ooh.
Have you seen this movie?
I have not seen this.
I saw it when I was relatively young, and it's one of those movies that I kind of always think about as like, oh, maybe I can meditate my way into the past. Or I guess maybe I have, according to back to this comment on the comments board.
Well, there's, another kind of like thinking about the comment of your future self, time traveling back in the past. There's also the Lake House. My classic favorite. The Lake House featuring Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, where they're
both incredible performances.
Incredible performances. I genuinely, it sounds like ironic or whatever, but I do genuinely have a love of rom-coms, and this is like a rom-com with a twist. But they're like they're lovers, but they're caught in different time periods, not zones, but time periods, and trying to find a time where they can connect and how that looks like.
Give us a call, 201-209-9368.
I also want to shout
Tell us
out
about time travel.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I wanted to shout out our show for next month. We're doing this show the second Wednesday of every month, where we take calls and talk about different topics. And
what's it called?
The Ravioli Tourism Monthly Open Lines Extravaganza.
Brilliant.
Next month, we are doing something very timely, very frustrating, you will have something to say about this. Next month's show is all about health insurance.
Health insurance.
The trials, the tribulations, the frustrations, the inequalities.
Should have done it now. It's open enrollment season, among other things.
Yeah, I really wish we could have. I wish we could have traveled done a bit of time travel to make that happen. But it's gonna happen next month. So you can always send us voice memos in advance of the show. tourism@wfmu.org, or just call us next month. We've still got an hour left and some time, and an hour and 10 minutes or so left.
Talking about time, 201-209-9368. More of I was gonna say an existential topic compared to something like health insurance, but health insurance can get pretty existential.
Yes.
I just finished my open enrollment, so it's on my mind too. And that took a lot of time. And a lot of
patience, I'm sure.
A lot of time and a lot of patience.
I heard on a Moondog record, and it goes something like this. Today is yesterday's tomorrow, which is also now. Now is all I have, now is all I want, now is all I need. Now.
I think about time travel a lot. I have since I was a kid, and I think I would just get bored places. I didn't have like a phone, and I didn't have a book with me all the time. I always tried to have one, but if I didn't, I would just imagine my favorite person from a book, who was Laura Ingalls Wilder, and I would imagine that she suddenly appeared next to me. Because so much of Little House on the Prairie and all those books is just her like daily domestic life. And I always imagined how much my daily domestic life would be so unique to her, even though it was so boring to me. So I started getting in the habit of like imagining time traveling Laura Ingalls showing up next to me and me pointing out all these like new things to her, like plastic and streetlights and like machined chain link jewelry and interracial marriages and paper that was thin and consistent and pencils that were affordable and mechanical pencils, and I just imagine that all the time. And then I imagine myself going back in time all the time. I think about it almost every day. I don't want to go back in time at all. It's exhausting and messy and smelly and dirty, but I think about it a lot. Like what it would suddenly be like to be standing in Brooklyn of 300 years ago. Like it would just be land. And I can't even imagine that. Sometimes when we're crossing over the Hudson or something, we're driving, I'll suddenly get a sense of what the past felt like, just because you get this vast piece of nature and you can't put a skyscraper in the middle of a river yet. I mean, you can, but no one does it, and they haven't. So you just get this thing that exists and has existed for millennia. And it's like time traveling after being in the middle of a city. It's one of my favorite sensations. I hate driving over bridges, but I love being driven over them for that reason. At least in New York.
We're talking about time travel and time, not just time travel. I do love this idea of just things in your daily life that make you feel like you're in another time.
Yes, me too. I think like something really... Well, I have a bunch of my mom's stuff in my apartment. Like she gave me different like knickknacks that I kind of grew up with that she's had for however long, and that kind of feels like that. Like I imagine, you know, her getting it at whatever age, and then myself seeing it at whatever age, and then it being in my current apartment now.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the feeling of an object that's just been through different times.
So many different so much different scenery.
Seen the world.
My mom also recently got like this really old sewing machine that is also a table from like an older relative, and that is also like, wow, this is seen some things. This has some weight to it.
Are there things that you see, things in the world that let you time travel, either back or forward? I think sometimes about seeing, I remember the first time I went to Beijing for the first time, which more than 10 years ago, and feeling like I was in the future just because of some of the bigness of the buildings. So I think go the other way too, things that make you feel like you're in the future. Give us a call, 201-209-9368, if you want to tell us about time travel, how to change time, manage time.
Yeah, that's interesting too. I remember in high school, one of my friends went to South Korea where she had a bunch of family and was describing like some of the different tech things she saw, like different phone stuff that was happening and like online stuff, and was like, I've never seen anything like this here. I can't wait till that exists here. It's WFMU East Orange, WMFU Mount Hope in New York City and Rockland County, 91.9 FM, and online WFMU.org.
You ever feel like you're in a loop?
Every day? No.
I mean, sometimes you just get sucked into something really stupid, and then the next thing you know, it's been like 5 hours, and you've been doing the same stupid thing. You get just like hyper focused, and then all of a sudden you're like, I haven't done anything good in 5 hours. And wow, did it become 3 in the morning, and it's almost like you. But you know, and then these good things, you're doing these things that are so interesting, and then it's kind of like, I don't know. It's weird how time can be so relative sometimes to like what you're doing, where it's like, why can't like the really tedious things go as quick as when there's something interesting going on, or like when you're not wasting time doing something, sometimes time goes quickly too. I don't know, maybe I'm kind of rambling right now. But you know what I mean? Like sometimes time speeds up and slows down, and it's really obnoxious. You know? It's like, it's weird how it changes. Because sometimes I'm like, I feel like I'm like, all right, this is how much time I have, right? But for the most part, I always think I have more time. Like, which is why I think I cram a lot last minute. That's how I've always been. And I think it's mostly because I'm like, I have more time. Like, there's always time. And then you look at the watch, which is like, honestly, right now, I thought it was like 8 o'clock. But really, it's 9 o'clock, which means I gotta start cramming. Because I'm gonna be late if I don't start, right? So it is always just like, I just got more time. I'm not gonna rush. And then all of a sudden it's like, gotta rush. I'm running out of time. And then I go into like hyper mode where I'm like, But I think people are like, yeah, you know, it could be like super last minute. And it's like, I'm just like, well, we're good. And then I show up 15 minutes late. So it's like, I think people do just, in general, perceive time differently than other people. And I'm one of those people who just always thinks time is slower than it actually is.
Special edition tonight.
Unless I'm scrolling TikTok and then I'm like, oh man, time really sped up for that, because I really had a lot of stuff to do, but I spent 5 hours of it watching dumb videos.
I'm here with
Whoa, it's like, yeah, I'm just hanging out, I'm just watching TV, and then it's like, wait, we just finished the whole movie. Yeah, it's pretty, even this conversation has felt very quick, but I feel like we've been talking for 20 minutes. I am actually running late now.
Give us a call, 201-209-9368, and tell us your stories about how you wrangle time. Are you good at wrangling time? I want to be. I have aspirations. I like to think that I'm in control of time.
I don't know that I can even like to think it. I feel so utterly out of control of time. I can't even imagine thinking about it.
The 40s.
Every time I think
I was thinking I was getting old.
What? I wasn't in control of time? Things happened without me.
And yet,
something I've been
when I think about it, I was young.
Imagining this time episode is how to measure time. So I asked the question like this. What is
Wait, how are you going to answer this question? Give me a squab. See how you
What about
a year is a long ways off. I don't know. I think it seems like looking backwards is a long time for a year. And it is in front. In the back.
It'll take 5 minutes. I'll do it in 5 minutes. And then half hour later. Still here.
So 5 minutes is 5 minutes.
Hi, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi.
Do you have a story about time?
I don't know if I have a story about time. I have a couple theories about time.
I'd love to hear it.
Well, I've heard that if you were to look at the entire time span of existence, the human lifespan is so tiny that the human race doesn't even exist. I've heard scientists say that, and I've heard that a wave is described as being a wrinkle in time, whatever that would mean.
Whatever that means.
Right. And then I want to talk about time portals. Like if you walk into like a basement of a diner, and all of a sudden you're in like the 1950s or something.
Has this happened to you?
What?
Has this happened to you?
No, but there's a Stephen King book that describes it. It's the book about the John F. Kennedy, how it involved I forgot the name of the Stephen King book was, but it involved a time portal.
Do you think like something like this
That's
could
all I
happen?
have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
I'm so glad somebody brought up time portals.
Needed to happen.
Needed to happen. I have a little time portal story.
Please
myself.
tell.
When I was, I don't know how old, also probably a teenager. My dad and I were driving. We used to take these long drives between where I grew up in Florida and where most of my family lives, which is in West Virginia. And so we used to drive between the two quite a lot. And we would take, as much as possible, for fun, we would take kind of back roads and try not to always use the kind of main highways. And it was just my dad and I must have been maybe 17, 18, I think I could drive. And we were driving up there, and I don't know where we were, probably in one of the Carolinas, maybe Georgia, and we wanted to get dinner. So we're driving, we see a little place lit up, looks nice. We stop, we go in. It's a nice little kind of diner place, very bright inside. Everyone's very friendly. We had a very nice time. So we went, okay, well, let's stop here on the way back too. So a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, whenever it was, we're coming back down, and we are like, okay, we're gonna try to stop there. And we're looking for it where we thought it was, and we're looking, and we don't see it for a while. And then we see this turnoff about where it might have been, and there's a big, just concrete slab where there was probably a building at some point, but it had been a long time since there was a building there. And there was a big sign, like a sign post, and then where a sign would have been, but it was gone, so it's just like that frame, the square. And we never saw it, but we saw this. So I've always wondered if it was a time portal. Was it really there? Did it burn down in the 2 weeks we were gone and then was cleaned up really well? Did we just miss it? Was this a different thing? I don't know.
I think it's this book called Tomorrow, 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 or something like that. It was like on a bunch of bestseller lists a few years ago, and I read it, and this guy is like driving in LA, and he kind of feels like he's constantly on different highways, or like the highway roads are shifting, like they like, and similar like little time warps, or like things are changing, or maybe he entered a different dimension for a bit, or like a portal, a time portal closed, like, and it's this really like, you know, hazy kind of chaotic time, and I don't know why I was thinking about that when you were describing.
Shifts in time, wrinkles in time, time dilations.
Wrinkle is a great word, I just have to say. Wrinkles of time is a wonderful phrase.
It's wonderful.
You might hear, as this show continues,
50 years is 10 to 12.
Glimpses back into the past.
Maybe less than that.
Visions of time and space.
100 years. It's going to be less.
Wrinkles.
Wrinkles in time.
It's 10 to 12 because...
Give us a call at 201-209-9368 if you've ever had a wrinkle in time.
Or 100. So the additional 50 that would make 100 is probably like 3 to 5 years. So 100 is like 15 years, 17.
So I ask again, what is 5 minutes?
I mean, I like what your dad was saying. When you asked what is a week, your dad was saying, like, yes, today's Wednesday, yesterday was Sunday. I relate to that. I think the days of a week just kind of blur together once you're in the core of your work week. Especially for me, I work from home most days except for Thursdays. So the days just kind of blur together until Thursday.
Yeah, Monday and Tuesday are long.
They're long washes of a day.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday is a week. Wednesday is 3 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is 1 day. And one Sunday is half a day.
Yeah, I think that's good math. We're talking about time, like here.
Enjoy drawing so much is the fact that it seems to give me time back. That time seems to pass slowly. I've got a pencil in my hand. I'm watching TV or something of that nature, or engaging in media in that way. The evening tends to fly by, and my evenings are pretty important to me. So I tend to find that listening to the radio, especially on sort of, over a big block of time, I feel like I've spent the time a little more wisely, for want of a better phrase, really. I just feel like I've got more out of it.
Monday and Tuesday is a week. Wednesday is 3 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is 1 day. And Sunday is half a day.
We're talking about time here on FMU, and we're ready for your stories about how you speed it up or slow it down. Practical advice we're interested in, also completely impractical advice. Give us a call, 201-209-9368.
What about an hour? An hour? That's quite a problem. Yeah. I have to wait for an hour for something. That's quite a while.
What about
a week is fail.
My week, literally, they're blurs. There's not a, like, I mean, today is Wednesday, right? Yeah, today is Wednesday. I can tell you that Sunday was a day ago. I mean, that's what's happened to my weeks.
Well, his week comes quicker than mine.
when you were his age? Did the weeks come faster?
When I was 70. I don't know.
Hi, you're on the air.
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Good, how are you?
So, yeah, this is like my first radio ravioli. Real cool. I just found the station a couple weeks ago. And
Oh, cool. Welcome.
when you were playing the intro, you know, all the ravioli lines and stuff in my head, I was just screaming, ravioli, ravioli, bring me the formioli. Which brings me to even hearing that, like, is like a form of time travel. Like, I just thought, like, brought me back to 2005 when I was a little kid seeing that stuff. And, yeah, it's really cool stuff. I love thinking about time and love those, like, old period pieces, you know, especially stuff like the 20s and, like, even, like, the 50s, the 80s, pretty much anything before, like, 2005.
Is the stuff that you like?
Even, like, stuff that was, like, made in the time period, like, that was, you know, say, like, a movie in the 50s about their current time. I love those because those are, like, the most accurate, like, depictions of that stuff. I love, like, the day-to-day stuff.
Wow, okay.
And I always think about, like, oh, man, I wish I was born earlier. Like, I'm 25 now. Like, I just wish I had, like, a couple golden years before the internet, you know. I can't even really claim 90s baby. I was, like, born in 98.
What do you think you are missing? What do you wish you could go
I don't know.
back
I like that. I feel like I actually do enjoy that I'm here now because you get to appreciate all the old stuff plus all the, you know, the advancements of the new stuff. But I feel like I miss that you're kind of just out in the world. You don't have the internet. You know what I mean? You just kind of got to go and, you know, pull yourself by the bootstraps kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, well, cool. Thank you. I hope you get to travel back in time sometime soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
For real.
Yeah, sorry. I had a hard time hearing you, too, on my phone. It's kind of bummy.
You're all good. Have a great night.
All right, you too, guys. Thank you.
Hi, you're on the air.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you...
We had a few people on the line. Feel free to call us back, 201-209-9368. We had some more calls, but I think they got cut off. So give us a call, 201-209-9368, and make it on the air. It was so nice hearing your grandma talk. Hi, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm with my friends, and we were talking a little bit about time and how we think about it. And I was saying it's like opening drawers in your brain and taking out memories because, well, what did you say?
I said that memories, well, that time is kind of happening all at once because you can be in the present moment but still have thoughts of the past, so it's just your time traveling within the present time.
Yeah.
In a sense?
Yeah, like you're in a big pond.
Yeah.
Ooh, I
Does that
like
make sense?
this. Yeah, I like this. Opening drawers of different times, different memories, I guess, right?
Yeah, because I remember reading once that, like, your memories, every time you access them, you are, like, rewriting them. I think about memories that you don't think about that often as, like, the original ones that are tucked away in drawers, and the ones that you access a lot are, like, at the top drawers, and you keep on messing them up. I think that's different than what you were saying, though.
Slightly.
Yeah.
But I agree with that
Yeah.
as well.
Thanks, guys. I love this. Thanks for your theories on time.
You're welcome.
Have fun. Bye.
That was great. That's a great theory. I feel that way too. You're in a place, you revisit a place every now and then. You can feel all the other times you were there.
Mm-hmm.
Are there places in your life that haven't changed?
I think like my college town, it doesn't, little shops here and there change, but it still kind of feels like the same quaint little town. What about you?
Yeah. My grandmother's house. We've heard her on the air quite a few times tonight. She's still hanging around at 101, and her house hasn't really changed. It's all like pretty much exactly the same.
Wow, I love that. What's like the thing that comes to mind first when you think about her house?
I guess there's two rocking chairs facing the television. One was where my grandfather sat, and the other one is where she sits. And I think of those chairs first. And them sitting in the chairs at different times.
How long has she had this house? She's 101.
She's 101. She's had the house, in my longer than I've been around, so at least 36, 7, 8, 9 years, 40 years, something like that.
That's
at least.
pretty amazing.
At least. And I think she was in it before I was around, so maybe more. I'd have to ask a family member or ask her.
I wonder what are the little things that have changed in a space that seems mostly the same. I used to feel that way about my grandma's house. It was pretty much always the same. Sometimes her pool was clean, but most of the time it was not. It was empty and filled with garbage, and the house was a nice house, a good home. But I remember when Obama got elected, she had all these, like, suddenly the house was filled with Obama.
Did the Obama stay up? Was it just there until...
Oh, it was there. Yeah, she passed not too much later than that. But yeah, I think I was at her sister's house when I was visiting family over the holidays. I went to Texas and saw my grandma's sister who's still alive, and she also had another like Obama plaque that seems like it was I was thinking back of like when she put that up and how long it stayed there.
Yeah, I think my grandma's house, I don't know if this is true of yours, but it seems to be a place that really just accumulates things. So if I were to walk through it kind of in my mind right now, there's some small pieces of furniture maybe that, oh, I remember when that was over there or in a different room or something. But for the most part, anything that's different is just like oh, well, this is a picture that was put up within the last 10 years. This was an object that, showed up 2 years ago. This is a different jigsaw puzzle than is usually being done. It's just an accumulation of things, not so much as a changing of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like if I lived in the place for 40 years, it would change dramatically, probably, if I had it my way. Because that's sometimes how I process, or like it represents change, or like I'm in a new era, so I'm gonna rearrange this entire room, even if it's not better. It'll work nicer for this moment.
Yeah. Well, I sometimes wonder if your space stays the same, it kind of keeps all your habits and thinking the same. So sometimes I move things around in order to like break myself, to change myself a little bit. Yeah. Are there spaces that you think about and miss that no longer exist?
Well, since we're talking about it, I mean, my grandma's house is definitely one of them. They don't have that house anymore. No one in the family does. And it's so vivid in my mind, but I wish I could go back and rummage through some of the things that I never got to rummage through.
Yeah. This goes back to our first caller of the night. Space is time. Time is space. Space is time. It takes time to walk across a room.
Yeah. It takes a lifetime.
A step
Each
is a
step
lifetime.
is a lifetime.
Give us a call with your wisdom about what time is, or, much needed thoughts on how to change time. Speed it up, slow it down, go back, go forward, turn it into a prison. 201-209-9368. I have a lot of trouble holding on to time. I don't know if I can. Sometimes I can have perfection of a day and a sort of a year plus where time stood still and it was almost like going into a black box and then coming out the other side, almost as if you were in a coma. I actually found myself during that time.
First question got for you. What is 5 minutes?
To have an awareness of the
I thought you said this wasn't philosophical.
You can answer it in a way. There's an answer to this that's philosophical.
To get a haircut every 2 months to maintain the same cut. And because of lockdown,
5 minutes.
and since I was behind closed doors, I was like,
aggravating
would I ever get to grow my hair out through all the awkward phases? Then when I'm behind closed doors, basically just completely disappeared. So, yeah, I feel like part of the reason I grew out my hair was to dictate the passage of time, not only to myself, but to others. Now I see people, and although it doesn't feel like it's been like 4 or 5 years since I've seen them, but to see how long my hair has gotten, there's pretty much no denying that it's been a really long time. I've had a lot of unstructured time in the last 5 years.
I think people do just, in general, perceive time differently than other people. And I'm one of those people who just always thinks time is slower than it actually is.
My perception changed quite a bit. When COVID lockdown happened, I feel like we all had a perpetual snow day, and it was sort of a year plus, for me more than a year for sure, where time stood still, and it was almost like going into a black box and then coming out the other side, almost as if you were in a coma. I actually found myself during that time.
I don't sense time passing, and I focus on something very hard. I let everything else fall on the wayside, and when I my lost time is usually like I don't sense time passing, and I focus on something very hard. I let everything else fall to the wayside, and when I finally let myself check, it's hours and hours later. But I've gotten really good at knowing how I am. Like if I'm working really late into the night, I can be like, okay, well I haven't checked in a while. I'm guessing. Last time I checked was like 10:30 p.m. I bet it's 1:40 in the morning right now. And I'll check it'll be like 1:42. And I'll be like, but also I'm not ready, so I'm gonna go into another, just to focus again. And like, time will pass. I don't know. It's just hyper focusing.
Supposed to talk to you about time? Like I've never time traveled or anything. I don't know if time travel is real. I don't know if I can go back in time, although the people try to sell you, I don't know.
Yeah, hey there.
Hey, what's up? Do you have anything about time?
I've heard, especially in African traditions, you talk about the Sankofa, which means like you have to look back in order to go forward. Which I guess is important, so history doesn't repeat itself in order to honor the sacrifices of those who came before us. So I don't believe in time travel per se, but I believe in the Sankofa, which is just, taking into consideration people's past efforts. I can see time though. Does that make sense? Like I think it's like an actual, not a problem, but it's like a condition. Like how do you see time? So like, I see time as in my brain as a straight line, and each month is a different color. So like when I think about December, I think of the color black, and then there's like this gradient, and then January becomes white, and then February is red, March is green, April is yellow, May is orange, June is also green, and then July is like a light blue, and then August is like a darker orange, and then September is like a golden yellow, and then October is like a violet, and then November is like a burnt orange, and then we get back to December again, and there's this long line. I don't know what that is. Is that a thing? Because in my brain, that's how I see time. Like, I don't need to have that investigated. Like, I don't need to go to a doctor for that, right? What's that called? It's like, you know those people who can, like, colors or numbers? But like, that's how I feel about time, is that. I don't know, I saw that they had people draw a calendar in their brain, right? Some people think in a circle, and some people think in, like, I don't know, in a circle or something. But time for me is just one straight line. It just goes on forever. It's like a timeline. Maybe that's why I don't believe in time.
I think time is super flexible. I can remember being at jobs or sitting in a doctor's office waiting, and 5 minutes can go on forever.
Yes.
And you're thinking, oh, 1 minute's finally gone, kind of. But other times, if I'm at a party or with friends and laughing and talking, I look up and it's midnight. And the last time I saw the clock, it was like, 9:30 or something. So I think time can just, go fast or slow.
Yeah, it really is just a perception. I guess, is it caused by stress? Lack of doing something, which makes it draw out?
Yeah, and actually I've learned to always bring a book with me or maybe something to listen to, because then time can be, I can kind of even it all out.
You're activating, you're stimulating.
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Has it changed for you, your perception of time?
I find that when I look back, things gone fast. But if I look forward, like, I'm not going to go on a vacation or trip for a year, that perception changes. But if I have a good, strong memory of something, it seems like it was just yesterday, no matter how long ago it was.
I also feel like I'm kind of weird moving really fast with holidays.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have a particularly fast time memory? Fastest time memory?
I mean, it flies during this radio show. Someone said time goes fast
you've ever been in a dream was. Or were the perception of the dreams.
Like, it can feel like you've been like a whole arc, right? Like a really good dream that has a whole story to it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have this memory of a dream that maybe I've made up at this point from when I was a teenager. That I think it was like the dream was jumping. This is Ravioli. Oh no, I forget it every time. Ravioli tourism, monthly open line, Extravaganza. But yeah, it's
You got it.
I did it. Taking calls about time, anything to do with time management, time travel, the love of time, the fear of time, a cat named Time, whatever it may be. 201-209-9368. As we're getting closer and closer to the end of time for the show anyway. The show's been folding back on itself a bit.
Yeah, looking through the looking glass back into 2 hours ago.
Dark, and I'm still haven't made it to my appointment. And I'm
2.5 hours ago.
and I'm running, like things keep getting in the
30 minutes
way.
ago.
And I feel like those
Does it feel like a long time ago, the start of the show?
that I've had.
Ugh, that's the longest feeling sense of life.
It kind of does, actually.
Being stuck in traffic.
What about you?
Time is thick. Give us a call.
Time is thick.
The folds of time are thick tonight.
Do you meditate?
I do meditate, yeah.
Does it change like your perception of time in a way? I hear that's why people meditate, right?
I started meditating as pain management kind of meditation. That's where I started with it.
But where did you
end
end up?
I think it does. I mean, I'm not in the best practice with it. I go in and out of practice. But it does feel like a lot of it is about accepting time, I think. I meditate, I do 15 minutes every morning of nothing, of just trying to be totally silent. And I set an alarm for 15 minutes, that way I don't ever look at a clock. And I just forced myself not to look at the clock or the alarm or to kind of do anything for those 15 minutes. And it's always feels like an eternity. And every day I say, tomorrow I'm going to do 20 minutes. Tomorrow I'm going to do 20 minutes. But 15 minutes feels so long that I've never, in the last year, since I've been doing this 15 minutes in the morning, I've never managed to get past 15. But I'm very,
But
I
you're
do the
diligent
15.
with it, yeah.
I'm very diligent with the 15.
I had an ex who was into transcendental meditation, and he would spend a chunk of the afternoon, like, I don't know how long it was, under an hour, like a half hour maybe, 20 minutes, I don't know. And he'd like have to go alone and do his meditation. And if he didn't do it, he was really, like he felt it.
Yeah.
Do you notice it when you don't stay in the rhythm of it?
I don't know that I do it enough to notice. I do it because when I'm having a migraine, I need basically I feel like I need the practice in so that I can meditate during the migraine, because it makes a huge difference to be able to meditate in the migraine. So I don't so much do it for the day-to-day as much as it's sort of preventative so that I'm kind of in shape for the migraine.
Interesting.
And I do notice when I'm not in the habit of of doing my like morning 15 minutes, I do notice it in the migraines. I do notice that I can't meditate in the migraines if I'm not meditating every day, regardless.
Interesting.
Yeah. But in the mornings,
So it's
I do
like
think of it
exercise
as
for your brain.
It's like exercise, like time exercise, if you will, temporal exercise, and holding the weight of time.
Kind of. Is it about becoming comfortable with nothing?
I think it is about time, because I think it is about holding on to the moment you're in without trying to escape it, without trying to resist it. So in the mornings when I'm not in a migraine, when I'm just doing it in the mornings, I try to think of it as, I have a lot to do during the day and it never feels like there's enough time, but also I'm really bad with time. I either really lose track of it in a crazy way, or it seems to be infinite. I don't have an in-between. Everything is either like a panic, frantic rush, or I'm totally lost in time. There's no in-between for me. So the meditation is a way of reminding myself that 15 minutes is actually like a very long time. And then I don't need to panic in those kinds of intervals, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Have you ever meditated or any kind of practice like that?
Not in any kind of consistent way. I've had people in my life encourage meditation. But I don't know. I exist in extremes as well. Like, I'm deep in something and then I forget to do it one day and then it's been years.
Yeah.
It has to be right in front of me. And then I'll do it. And I don't know. I guess I could have a post-it above my bed saying meditate. And then I'd probably do it every day.
Is there anything that you do every day?
I always drink my tea in the morning.
Do you have any kind of ritual with the tea?
Well, usually I do those I don't really want to talk about another platform on this platform, but usually I do those New York Times games in the mornings, and then I share the results with my mom, and usually Matt is also doing them, and then we kind of it's a way to stay in touch daily without actually staying in not going on the phone or something.
Yeah.
It's a passive way to be hey, thinking of you. We did the same thing today. So I do that pretty much every day. There's days where I forget, but I do that a lot.
Do you have a sense of how much time that takes in your day?
Less than an hour. I mean, it really depends on how hard it is. But yeah, it can take 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. Sometimes I'm really stumped and it takes a while. We're actually getting a call right now. Hi, you're on the air. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey guys, so I just wanted to say real quick, your story about your 101-year-old grandmother and her house reminds me of my friend's house. We used to go to his house, in the garage. He had a decked out bar in there, but in the house was a real gem. You walked in there, it was like walking into the 70s, shag carpeting, vintage Lazy Boys, vintage couch, the OG wallpaper. She had a like a bright orange kitchen table with like in a booth, you know, it was like a leather booth with a table between it. And it was just a, you know, beautiful old-fashioned house. It had like the tube TV with the big back and, the old stereo systems and everything. You know, I always thought, you know, it was always awesome going to the house, and your grandmother's story really reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. This was your friend's house?
Yeah, my friend. Yeah, my friend's grandmother. She's like, 90-something right now.
Okay, I was gonna say, if they're your age, maybe you have met a time traveler.
Hey, I mean, you never know, right? And what was your guys' names? I wanted to find out, too.
My name's Olivia. This is my show, Radio Ravioli, and I'm here with Adriene, who comes on the second Wednesday of every month and does this call-in show with me.
That sounds good. I'm Barack, like Obama. That ties in with the other grandmother.
Ah, that's awesome. Named after?
All right.
I don't think the
Thank
timing
you, guys.
works out
It's a cool show. This is my first time listening. I'm really glad I did.
Well, welcome. Welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Good night, ladies.
Oh, time traveling with a shag carpet.
That is such a visual.
Such an of its time object. It wasn't even of my time.
No, yeah, exactly.
Something we didn't talk about, but speaking of grandmother's house, my grandma has a wind-up clock that she's always had. You always have to wind it. She's very diligent about winding it. And that's an association I have with her house, this constant ticking of this clock, which actually we've been hearing some, because I've been playing it some throughout the show.
It's the ticking of that clock?
It's the ticking of that clock, anytime you hear a clock ticking.
Wow.
But I've read that the perception of time before clocks, I mean, it must have been really different, right? When you couldn't narrow time down to these really precise measurements.
Yeah, and time, it must have felt so much more individual, I guess. Although you still had the time of the sun setting and things like that.
Yeah. Maybe in that way it felt more communal than
collective.
Yeah, collective. There it is.
The
There's
winding.
Yeah.
Do you have to wind it every day?
I don't know how often you have to wind it. I've had to wind it for her a couple of times, and I don't know that you have to wind it every day. But it's got a big, very, very satisfying key that sits at the bottom of the clock that you put into the little kind of like winding mechanism. It's an incredibly satisfying thing to do.
Does it take a lot of strength?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna say no. I think if a little kid, when a little kid does it, they gotta really go for it, but you can do it.
I was imagining sometimes those little cranks are the toughest, so that's what I was asking.
I think the key fits really well, so it fits into the part where you would wind it, and it just like clicks into place, and then it gives you the kind of leverage you need.
Yeah. Remember when someone sang to us tonight?
Beautiful.
That was so
I have to go
lovely.
back and listen. Beautiful.
Did she say, "I'm a time-bending woman"?
Time-bending woman. Olivia, I think you're a time-bending woman.
I feel honored. I think you're a time-bending woman as well.
Oh, thank you. Time-bending women all around. Listening to the beginning of the show at the end of the show.
12 hours, like around entirely is a wild experience in general.
Yeah, that is.
But recently, we were also looking through old photos, and I realized that there's a bunch of time lost from when I was younger. Not like in a bad way necessarily, but
We're
I mean,
coming
on a
up
day-to-day
on
basis, we
midnight. Pretty
we
close.
have a lot of tasks and things
Changing
that we
days,
do that are
very fitting.
menial, or now you're scrolling on your phone or whatever. Not something that's memorable, and I don't remember a lot of the time from when I was younger and what I was doing to pass the time. That wasn't super memorable. Was I watching TV?
Next
was I
month,
know,
the second
playing a
Wednesday
game
of the
or
month,
whatever.
is that right? Do we know
There's just a lot of
what
time
day that
missing
is?
now.
One second here. That is.
I don't remember.
January 8th.
January 8th. I'll be back with you.
You'll be
to
back?
talk about health insurance.
We're talking about health insurance. We want to hear your horror stories, your moments of frustration. I mean, there can be good things in there as well, I guess. But
there's not going to be good
I
things.
assume there
There's
probably
no
won't
way.
be.
There's not going to be good things.
But it can be extremely cathartic to complain about because it's a totally messed up system here in our country. And it's just wild.
It's wild. It takes so much time, it's such an administrative burden on everyone. It's so complicated.
It's expensive.
It's so expensive.
So yeah, that's next month. And if you want to call in advance of the show, you can send us a voice memo at tourism@wfmu.org, or we'll just be taking calls all night from 9 p.m. until midnight. It's so fun doing this show with you, Adrienne.
It's so fun. It's so fun hearing everybody's takes, opinions.
Lots of theories
Tricks.
tonight.
Lots of theories tonight.
Thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, thank you.
We're also should be starting maybe with this one. The show will be available as a podcast after it airs.
Yes.
And listen back to the theories of time, the songs of time, time-bending women.
And previous shows as well. We've done 2 other shows on this. It's been happening every month. And it'll continue on. I can't believe it'll be next year, next time we're on air together. What is a year?
What is a year? I can't wrap my head around a year. I can barely do 5 minutes.
Are you someone who gets frustrated with New Year's resolutions?
I don't do New Year's resolutions. I'm doing New Year's resolutions every week. There's no reason for me to do them on January 1st. I feel like I'm making a new resolution every couple of minutes. So. Not keeping those either. Do you have any?
I don't have any of this year. In general, I'm like okay with them, but some people get really angry with the fact that you need to have a date tell you a time to create a new habit. Also, some people are like I was talking to my sister the other day about how winter is a terrible time to start a new habit. Like, we should be hibernating. We should be looping the past. Like, we should be like cozying up. It's not a time to like start your workout routine from scratch.
I guess that's true. Although I feel like it's better to start running in the winter than the summer, right? Because you can, like running in the overwhelming heat.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Running in the overwhelming cold is also really hard and not fun.
That's fair. Well, here's to neither of us having a New Year's resolution.
Thank you so much for your call. And time carrying on just fine without it.
Carrying on.
It's WFMU East Orange, WMFU Mount Hope in New York City, and Rockland County, 91.9 FM, and online, WFMU.org. All of the music tonight has been from us or from friends, and thank you to Jasmine, Bailey, Matt, Ted, for all contributing sounds.
On to tomorrow. We'll be back next month. Next year, open lines, January 8th, 2025, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. Listen on WFMU, or if you're not in the listening area, WFMU.org. In January, Ravioli Tourism Monthly Open Lines Extravaganza, we're going to be trudging through everyone's favorite nightmare that is actually killing us, health insurance. So you can give us a call on Wednesday, January 8th, or send us voice memos in advance to tourism@wfmu.org. Send us your stories, your pains, vent your frustrations, your fears. How much time do you spend just dealing with the administrative, the bureaucratic element of it all? What has the system done to change the way you think about your own health? We want numbers, and we want to share your pain, because we have it too. That's next month. Again, you can call in live. It'll be January 8th, 2025, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time on WFMU, or send voice memos to tourism@wfmu.org. And even if you don't want to share your stories, you can tune in or wait for the podcast and listen this way. You can also find us, Adrienne, that's me, and Olivia, on Instagram at Oh No. That's OHNO0000. And a big thanks to everyone who called, sent voice memos. Special shout out to Parker, who's working through her time synesthesia. And thanks to our friends who shared their incredible music. This episode included Command Jasmine, Matt Warwick, Ted Hotelling, Bailey Goldsboro, and a little bit from both of us, Olivia Bradley Skill and Adrienne Lilly. Thanks for listening.